Hi guys, happy Sunday because you're getting this on a Sunday. So hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Mimi.
And this is the Go Off Sis podcast.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Thanks a million for joining us again. It's really a blessing to have you here.
Yeah, if you're not watching us on YouTube, then you're probably missing out on a lot of, visuals and just that kind of stuff. So, I would actually advise you to hop on over to YouTube.
Yeah, I'm still kind of like wrapping my head around the fact that we do YouTube now.
I mean, we're kind of a big deal.
Yeah, people are like, oh, YouTube. And now we're actually on YouTube. Like, we put video content on YouTube.
Just saying. Anyway,
yeah.
This is
So
episode...
today... Oh, sorry. Go on.
This is episode 32.
It sure is, yes. And Mia, actually, we didn't actually, the elephant in the room. You've cut your hair.
I'm bald.
Yeah, I just didn't even mention it because I've seen it. But yeah, you've actually shaved your head top.
Hashtag big chop.
Big chop
Massive. 2020.
This is like even further than a big chop.
This is the biggest chop.
Yeah, I've just cut my straight bits off. I've gotten rid of some splits. I was like, you just dashed it. You've gotten rid of everything. I mean, are you feeling all right now?
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. I love it.
Oh, you kind of froze then. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I thought you were doing that as a pose for everybody to just see it, but then I realized
maybe it's a bit of the connection. But yeah, so it only seemed right that this episode was all about hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why we've called this episode Don't touch my hair.
Yeah, we love a bit of Solange and we love that song.
I love her.
Yeah. So we have two special guests today. They are both magical women. I love them both. They are great. These are people that, sometimes you'll unfollow somebody on Instagram because you're like, they are doing nothing for my life. I don't think I'd ever unfollow either of them because they both impact very positively to my timeline.
I fully get that. Like, they are a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
In a oversaturated social media. So yeah, we're going to have a chat today with these two lovely women. So I guess that's kind of all we've got to say.
Mm-hmm.
Should probably let the rest of the episode do the talking.
Yeah, what's the kind of, it'll each segue itself into the remainder of the episode. English.
You love the word segue, don't you?
I do, because once I heard it in a talk and I was like, that is freaking amazing. I love that. Let's just segue into the next slide. And I was like, that was nice. I love that because I've only ever heard it as in segue, as in the scooter.
Yeah, that's why I just imagine someone going, ooh.
Yeah, so when I heard somebody talking it, I was like, how sick is that word? I was like, yeah.
Pretty impressive.
You sound pretty smart, right?
Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, let's shuffle on to the first guest.
So guys, we're back with our first special guest, Fu.
Hello. Hi.
Woo!
Hi. Yes.
So we did mention before in our intro that we love you. We have a very special love for you. You're somebody that brings light and positivity into our lives.
Oh my God. That's so nice. Can I swear? No, I can't swear.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So Fu is the co-founder and editor of Rooted Zine.
Yeah, that sounds so official now.
Yeah,
she's kind of a big deal, guys.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. When you say co-founder, you expect of PayPal or something. Not quite of a small business. I don't know, but
when you think of what you are, and I know times, when we were thinking about certain things that we do, you're like, no, that is what you do. That is what you are. So you better say it. And we were like, rah, okay.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people are going to try and take advantage of you, or they're going to not believe in you, so you got to believe in yourself. Throughout history, everyone's just, who's made change, is just thought, I'm going to do it by myself, or I'm going to team up with someone and do it. So yeah, go for it.
That's what I'm saying. Do you
Stop
see why
it.
she inspires us?
She's so
She's just gonna
empowering.
for us. Like, that's the podcast, guys. That's it.
And yeah.
Done. Dusted.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we wanted to ask Fu on the podcast because we know that she has got a lot to say when it comes to hair, and especially the hair of Black women. So I guess we can start the conversation by just saying, like, what does your hair mean to you?
Do I go first?
Yeah.
Should I go first?
Girl, this is all about you.
You know what? Hair used to be such a hindrance because I was relaxing it, I was straightening it, I wasn't brushing it, I wasn't looking after it, and that was when I was in school. So the meaning of hair has changed. It used to be like a thing in my head that I've got to deal with, and now it's something that I look forward to styling and, you know, like really treating it and looking after it as part of my body and not seeing it as like something external. Like you know, they say like your hair's dead as soon as it comes out your scalp. So people kind of might have that disconnect, but I've tried to learn to connect it. So hair means everything to me. Yeah. It means everything. It's so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So powerful. I definitely agree with what you said. Like it was always seen as like a hindrance, because like for me growing up, like I would literally just like straighten my hair, like, and it was, to an extent, it was because it was maybe easier to like maintain or whatever, but also
Yeah,
it's
just to
because,
manage.
but also because you want to fit in, and you want, especially if you're growing up somewhere or you're going to school somewhere where there's not many people who look like you or have hair like you, you don't want to then, if you've already got a different color skin, you don't want to draw more attention to yourself by having this really big hair. Like, I think it's definitely to kind of like just kind of fall back into the shadows a little bit.
Yeah. Do you know what as well? I think even because I grew up in a place where I grew up in Trinidad. There are lots of
Wait,
Black
you
people.
grew up in Trinidad?
Yeah. But shut up. You always say that because like, Richard, all the time, but some people may not know this. Okay, Mia? Anyway. And it's just a matter of, there are lots of Black people have curly hair, all that. But people still relax their hair, texturize their hair, straighten their hair. And I think now when natural hair is coming about, more people are embracing their natural hair, less people are doing it. Yeah. So there are a lot of people with curly hair and Black people around, but people still relax their hair. And I think that's more of a historical element with that. So it's just a matter of beauty standards. And people saying whether if you have straight hair, it's just to look more neat, to look more professional, etc. And I think that's changing now, where people are embracing their natural hair and I don't know, maybe would you say that's like your Black identity more, or just your Black I don't know what you would consider that as, embracing your Black profession. I don't know what you would say that as, like your Black beauty standards are professional and they're fine. Do you get where I'm coming from? I just don't know how to phrase that correctly.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's not, before, like, it was the Eurocentric white beauty standard where it was like straight hair, like da-da-da-da. But as we've kind of moved away from that, or maybe not so much moved away from it in mainstream media, but moved away from it in our own mindsets, I think that's allowed for Black women to form their own kind of, like people like Beyonce, like Rihanna, like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot more Black women in the spotlight with, I mean, it might not be their natural hair, but wearing like curly hair, braids, like protective styles. So I think that's like influenced
and like your hair being out is not unprofessional. And that's fine, because I remember going to school, right? And there'd be girls with their hair down, but my hair could never be down. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's an absolute no-no. And I'm like, what is the difference? And it would just be an absolute, that could never be a question for me to do that. And I just would never even think about it that. But now when I think back at it as an adult, I'm like, that is not correct. You know, it's just like my hair would always have to be in a ponytail, but white girls could have their hair down. And I'm just like, you know
and
what?
it could be really long as well. Like it could go down to their waist, but no one would have a problem with it.
Do you know what I mean?
But you have like a short curly bob and they're like, who's going to get in the school food?
Yeah.
like, no. Yeah, I think, do you remember there was a Google scandal that if you typed in unprofessional hair, Black women's braids would come up?
Yeah.
And then if you typed in professional hair, it would be like, you know, like European longish type of hair. So thankfully we're moving on from that, aren't we? I think there's like, I've noticed in Superdrug and I think in Boots as well, there's more like black hair products that otherwise I'd have to go like, because I live sort of in town, so I'd have to go like outwards to different areas and try and get products I need. So I think they're starting to recognise that, but it's a bit late, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's took so long
to go to like an actual black beauty shop to get those things. And another thing for me as well, right? If I'm going to just a regular hairdresser's, it's like, okay, can you flat iron my hair, or can you blow dry my hair, or cut it? Oh, I don't know if I know how to manage your hair. And I'm like, what? You're a hairdresser. How do you not know how to?
You can't call yourself a hairdresser if you can't do all types of hair.
But then sometimes I'm like, I'm not even embarrassed for me, I'm embarrassed for you. Like, are you actually even a hairdresser at this point?
Innit? Like, what are you even doing? Like, you're losing out on money, if anything.
Yeah, and credibility as well.
They'll also try and charge you more if there's like more hair or thicker hair.
Yeah, the fact that sometimes I have to go into hairdresser and be like, do you do black hair? Is like ridiculous at this point. But then sometimes I feel embarrassed to ask them that, because it's like, you're taking away from my name. Because some of them are like, obviously, like, I'm a hairdresser, why would you ask me that? And then
but I think you're in your right to ask that, because you don't want to go somewhere and
they
like
jack
you said,
my hair up. Yeah,
definitely.
Oh yeah, good point.
It's mad. But I think growing up, like, it does, I think one thing that me and my sister try to do now, because like we've got little sisters, and they're like, I think they're like 5 and 8, and they're like obsessed with having their hair straight. And I'm like, oh, like, you know, when it actually makes you a bit sad, because I'm like, why don't you want to have your hair curly?
Yeah. So
like for Christmas, like we got them loads of like hair stuff. We got them like a little book about like love your hair. But like they were still like, and I remember I sat my little sister down, and I literally, like, to be fair, like I just put in a ponytail and I just did her baby hairs, and she was like, oh my god, like I love it, I love it. But then like, as soon as like, I don't know, like a few hours had passed, she'd be like, oh, like it would be all messy again, and she'd be like, just like complaining, like, oh, my hair's all frizzy and da 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 da. And it's like, obviously, yeah, it can be annoying when your hair does like frizz up or whatever. Well, not anymore, but you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
But like, I think we need to just stop looking at that as such a negative thing, and like, your hair is not always going to be perfect. Like, that's okay. And I think it's so important for little kids who are the now upcoming generation to realize that. But it's actually quite hard to make a child believe that if maybe they are, like we have been, like surrounded by hair that doesn't look like theirs.
Yeah. And I was talking to my mom about this earlier, because I was talking about the podcast, and you do have that in your mind when you have friends, like you say, who don't look like you, and you're kind of like, okay, so my hair is not quite like that. How do I get it to look like this? Or you just kind of have that internal battle with yourself, even if it's not a massive, like, oh my God, this is terrible. It's just like, okay, I do want my hair to be a little bit straighter, or how do I get myself a little bit lighter, or this. It's just like, because you're just not the same, and you want to be like, what's going on in my life? I guess it's just like that kind of identity crisis where you're like, oh, what is going on, really?
You always want what you can't have. It's that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's definitely hard.
You grow into it, I guess, and you realize, okay, this is my hair, and I'm going to rock it.
But that's what's so annoying, is that it takes you so long to realise. Like, I always remember I went to New York and I met up with my cousin, and like, she was like, oh my God, like I'm on a natural hair journey. Like I haven't straightened my hair. I haven't relaxed my hair for like however long. And you could literally see like the difference in her like new curls and then like her old ones. But I was like, what, 18 then. And that was when I was like, okay, let me like stop straightening my hair. But like, that's 18 years of my life. I mean, obviously when I was little, I wasn't straightening my hair, but like it got to an age and I was. Like that you've straightened your hair. And like I say this now, like I have no idea what my actual natural hair looks like, because it's been so like changed across things happen to it.
Yeah,
like even
that goes out, you'll start to know.
That's what's made me so excited, because I'm like, what's it gonna be like?
No, yeah, it's true.
I
I
was
feel,
the same age. Sorry.
yeah. No, it's
I
true
was the
because I
same
remember.
age as 18.
Oh, when you started, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I because I used to texturize my hair, so it's like there was a point I was like, I'm just gonna stop putting chemicals in it altogether. And then you start seeing like different parts, and you're like, oh, okay, how come I wasn't like, why was I doing all this to my hair when I didn't actually have to? But like I said, life, I guess you figure things out through life again, and it's just that. And
It's
then
just
Life
such
but
a
good.
shame.
some people don't even get to that point; they're just gonna continue doing that all through life,
Mm-hmm.
and so.
So what is both of you guys, your opinion on like non black people wearing like hairstyles that are maybe, well, they are like black hairstyles, so like cornrows, braids, locks, like do you think that that's okay? Do you
No.
think it's not okay? Talk to me.
You know what? Okay, so I guess I'm a bit split on it because let's say somebody goes on holiday somewhere and it's very innocent and they come back and they just have a few little cane
Yeah.
rows and it's like I was enjoying myself and somebody there and I'm just like, okay, they haven't done that maliciously. They literally just went, they were on the beach, they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, let me get some cane rows, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that that's any kind of harm. That's not doing anybody harm. Somebody there also made some money. Do you see where I'm coming from? It's a very thin line. But then there's some people who literally are culture vultures.
Mm-hmm.
And also kind of say I used to use the word culture vulture in the totally wrong way. I used to think culture vulture was somebody who used to enjoy somebody's culture in a nice way. So like you would go and be like,
Oh,
oh my
yeah.
God, yeah, I'm a culture vulture. I love this stuff. So it's like you
Oh.
a historian in a
How
good
does
way.
that even sound like a positive word though?
I don't know. So it's terrible. So if anybody sees me saying, oh my God, like that historian is such a culture vulture, I love him on my Facebook, I use it in the wrong way anyway.
Dear me.
It's okay.
So yeah, but then there's culture vultures and they are just, not good because they're just,
No.
yeah.
I
So,
think
yeah, you sounded
like
like
how
you were a
you
bit
were.
mad.
I was mad, and then when you said about like people going on holiday and getting their hair done, I was like, oh. So then I was like thinking about it in my head, and basically it's about innocence. It's about if they know what they're doing, and I think the best way to get the message out to people is to induce empathy within them or sympathy within them for in terms of like what we feel when people do those types of styles and don't recognize us or say that that's where they got it from, or they do and they're doing it like overtly. They're not being like it's not an accident, they haven't thought like, oh, I really like that style. If they know about it, then I've got a different take on it. So I guess it's about educating people. But the more influencers and the more people just in general who talk about these issues, I think the better it will get. I think people on holiday will not get those hairstyles anymore if they understand where we're coming from. Because if you are a white person who doesn't have like Viking or Celtic, because some people have like those types of dreads or twists, and that's relative to that culture or Native American culture as well. Then you don't really have a right. And then people try and flip it, don't they? They say like, but black people have their hair straight. And I'm thinking like, you can't oppress like the oppressed. So
When people come and say those sorts of things, sometimes I'm just like, honestly, at this point, you just sound ridiculous.
Honestly, I rolled my eyes.
Don't even, because the things that yeah, just by the way, yeah, you were frozen for a sec, but you're good now, I think. Just
I know
talking.
it literally just
Oh,
said,
you're good. You're good.
it just said I was
But yeah,
unstable.
but yeah, I think when they come and they start saying those sorts of things, I'm just like, listen, you've done so many things. You've literally told us that we were unpretty, all these things, made us straighten our hair, and now you come to flip it back on us. Give me a break.
Have you heard of a person called, like, I agree by the way, but have you heard of a person called Saji Bartman?
No.
or Sarah Bartman. I can't remember what century it was, either like 18th or 19th century. But she was taken from her home. I can't remember where that was either. And she had like very, very large, like a very large bum, very thin waist. You onto it? Yeah, and then and she was like put on literal exhibition in parts of London because people were, I don't want to say fascinated, because fascinators has got positive connotations, hasn't it? But they were like exotifying and fetishizing her body. And that's happened to us for thousands of years. And now what does everybody, well, you know, the media want people and women to look like? Big bum, small waist. So it's come full circle. And hopefully more people will start to research and know why they're wanting, you know, because people get procedures to look more like a black person. Yeah, but in my opinion, it's more like a black person, bigger lips.
Yeah,
you know,
no, definitely.
The body that we naturally have. So I don't know.
And I think that's what's so infuriating with the whole hair thing, is that like it's the whole not giving credit. So like I always remember it was like Katy Perry had like cornrows or something, and it was like, oh, like these new Katy Perry braids, or like Kim Kardashian wore like, I think they're called like Fulani braids or something. Kim Kardashian wore them, and it was like, oh, the new Kim K braids. And it's like there's people around the world who have been doing this for years, and they are black people, but you're not going to credit them. You're going to credit the white person, and I'm just not here for it. And as well, like these protective styles are made for certain hair types. So a lot of the time, like I've seen on Twitter, like a white girl will get her hair braided and then she'll complain that like her hair's falling out and stuff, or her edges are gone or whatever. And it's like, your hair isn't made for these styles. Like that's why you're not supposed to wear them.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really complain, because like you're not meant to do this anyway.
And like I say, exactly. I do think it's a thin line. So I think I don't know, if maybe we flipped it, and if maybe people went into it the correct way, maybe then it wouldn't have been such an issue now. But people have not been doing it correctly. I don't mean rocking it correctly, but have been just like stealing it. And like you say, with Kim Kardashian, rocking. And so maybe the media is also a bit of an issue when it comes to these sorts of things.
Like, what's the correct way?
Because you've got people who you get girls sent home from school because their braids are too long, or they've got dreadlocks.
I don't know why.
I remember there was a boy in America who was for, I think it was a sports team or something, and he got told to cut off his dreads. Like that's just
that's mad. Like I know as well, dreads, sometimes people are like, oh no, you can't wear dreads, that's not professional, you should have a short haircut. And I'm just like, what? It's ridiculous.
It's not going to hinder him in any way whilst he's playing sports. It's not going to distract anyone.
Yeah, people just don't like it.
Yeah. Exactly. And they did it to my mum when she was growing up in Liverpool. I don't know, in the 70s, and 80s. They said that she used to have like twists with like the little beads at the end. And they can't have it. She was just like, but why not? So it's been happening for decades, hasn't it? People not accepting.
And I always remember, like, not remember, like it was a long time ago, like even now, like if I go into work with well, not now, but when I would go into work with braids, like it was just like, I'm somebody who loves to experiment with my hair, and like I would love to, and I think it represents so much of me, but like I would hate it because of the attention it brought me. And it was like, people would pass it off as positive, but it was like you said, Fu, like not like fascinated or whatever. It was like, oh, like there was a woman and she would be like, oh, turn around for me, like, oh, let me see, like, and I'll be like, no, I'm not like your little bitch, like I'm not like. But like when you're the only black person in that situation, it's so hard for people to understand, because like it's like you're just like what's it called, like it's like somebody at the circus, like who everyone's come to see, like, ooh, what's this, ooh, can I touch it, ooh, can I do this? And it's like I would never come up to you if you dyed your hair or you had your hair cut and say, ooh, can I touch it? Because we've all got hair, like let's just stick to our own.
Exactly. It's about like consent and respect and like your own ownership of your body. And then people, like, it's just like systemic like an institutional racism, isn't it? It's like they've been taught a certain way, and now it's like subconsciously in their minds, like when they see something different, that's not white, that's not straight, you know, that's nothing, that's like heteronormative as well, if you want to go into like everything. They see it as different. They see it as like oriental, like Orientalism by Edward Said. There's a lot that goes with it. It's quite sad,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. It's just, I think all these things are quite deep, and people don't realize how deep these things are. They're just like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's just this. Oh, she's coming with braids and we see how it, and it's just like, please give me a chance.
Yeah, and it's your experience as well. It's your experience of it. Like, I know that if I rocked up in braids to a office full of black women, they'd be like, "Oh, nice hair." That would be the end of it. But like, if it was like white people, it would be, oh, like it's an unnecessary show of attention that never needed to happen.
Yeah. I even, you know, like we were talking about protective styles and stuff before. I know I was always so, but then again, I don't know if this is, like you say, your experience, and I would do it differently, but it's just the way that people see it. You know, like young kids when I was growing up would have very like intricate hairstyles and things like that, protective styles. But I would not do that because I grew up with a white mother. Do you know what I mean? So I would probably just have like 2 little plaits. And I was always just like, these are so nice. But I know that I could never sit down either way for such long periods of time to have anything like that. I would just like, and it would hurt me, and I would just like, I would never let my mom do anything else other than 2 plaits. But it's just like, those things are just so nice to see on like people doing. You know, it's just, I think it's a bonding experience between people to do those sorts of things with their children. It's just looking after your hair, all those sorts of things. It's just a nice thing to have and to do. Looking after your hair, just everything.
It's interesting about like who your primary role model is as well. She said your mum's white, and my mum's half white, half Somali. Is your mum white?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's black. So it's interesting because as much as my mum was trying to tell me in school, your hair's beautiful, I really want your curls, you know, really nice things, and she would know how to look after it. I look at her hair and I'm like, but like she's got like those natural curls like that you see on like, you know, Maybelline adverts, like European type of curls, like someone's put the curl and tongue. So I always wanted that type of curl. So it was hard to like look at her literally, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like I came out of her, so it's like it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I don't know.
But I think as well, like I 100% get that. But then, like I also envied like Rachel's hair or your hair, which is like very tightly curled, because the hair that I was always dealing with was never like that. So I would also have hair envy of those who had it completely straight, but then hair envy of those who had those lovely curls. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like a never-ending battle. Whereas instead, I should have just tried to accept the curls that I had. But
I think it's like you said, it's a battle, isn't it? Because I know, like growing up, I'd be like, okay, cool. So I need to do this. So I need to get all these products to make sure my curls are like this. I need coconut oil. I need this. Why is my hair so frizzy? I just don't get it. It's curly. What do I do? So mom's like, okay, get a diffuser. So I'm like, right. So I'm gonna do this. Gonna get a texturize. So my curls can do this. And then I'm like, okay, no, I'm just gonna flat iron it. It's not doing what I want to do. It doesn't look like the girls in the curly hair adverts. What am I? Like, this is ridiculous. It's just, it's too much.
It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. I think that's the conclusion of this all. Like, black girls' hair is a lot, but it's beautiful, and whoever you are, whatever texture, whatever type, like it's still,
whatever curl type, you just embrace it.
Yeah, like, it's beautiful regardless.
Yeah,
exactly. And like your curl type throughout your scalp can change as well.
definitely.
Yeah, and like, you know, the seasons of the year, like that's gonna change, and it's gonna change how your hair is. So just working with it, you know, not getting too mad at it. But everyone's had those days where it's like, I'm about to go out, everything's ready, but my hair's not listening. Not listening to me.
I literally said this yesterday, Fu. I was like, I feel like every single time I wash my hair, it looks different. So somebody's like,
Same.
oh my gosh, you know that thing that you did last week? I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I did it. I
It
don't
just
know.
happened.
It just did it. My nan's starting to hoover right now, and I'm just like, really, Nan? Right, I'm doing a podcast.
I can't hear it.
Okay, that's
can't
good. Bring this
I-
mic
I-
closer to my mouth.
Yeah.
I can. But anyway, I think we've had a lovely chat there, and thank you, Fu, so much for your insight.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And we've had a nice conversation.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
important
yeah,
one.
love your hair.
Facts.
Embrace it. Be sassy. I don't know.
But yeah, so Fu runs Rooted Zine as well, guys. So make sure you check that out. Her and
again,
Amber.
like I was saying, we will tag this in our caption.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Like a big deal.
Thank you. It's been such a chill chat. I'm so thank you for that, because some interviews or podcasts can be quite oh, and you feel nervous, but thank you.
Oh no, we're too unprofessional for that.
Yeah, we're just.
It's the new professional.
Hey. Okay, well, we love you.
See you.
So we're back with our second guest, and we've got the lovely Chloé, who is the founder of Thyself. Introduce yourself, Chloé.
Yes, so my name's Chloé. I'm a digital marketer by trade. I also founded and run the wellness brand and community Thyself. And then on the flip side of that, I'm a content creator. So I do a lot of fashion, plus size fashion, lifestyle content, travel, everything.
Chloé, we had a guest before you, right? And we were saying, and me and I said this before, we're like, sometimes you might have a little clear out of your Instagram if you feel like people aren't necessarily doing anything good for your timeline, etc. And we're like, you are definitely one of those people that I would never get rid of. You bring so much positivity. I just love seeing everything that you do. And you are just complete goodness for me. Well, I'm just tapping my mic. But yeah, we love it.
But this makes me really happy, because I wanted everything that I've done to this point, especially starting to have an online presence. It was about being the change that I want to see. And whenever people ask me, how do I do what you do? How do I make those moves? It's just be the change that you want to see. Be really authentic to yourself about what you think that is lacking out there, and do it, and do that change, and be that change. And for me as well, I guess authenticity wise, I can't be talking about wellness and being a better person if I'm not already on that journey. So my content has to reflect that stuff at Gucci and stuff like that, because essentially I don't care for stuff like that. I don't mind it every now and then, and it's not to say I can't afford it, but I also don't have to prove anything to anyone. And I guess I hope from what you guys see from my page and also Thyself is that it's very unapologetic. And I feel most people should live like that, because it's living in your truth, and you will be a happier person.
Yeah, and we
that
do
was
see
lovely.
that, and it's just like I said, you just come and you just blow us away with just a few lines, and it's I
spend a lot of time by myself reading, so I'm when I get the chance, I'm drop some bombs.
You know what you have to say. I like that.
Yeah. So Mia shaved her head, and that's what sparked the conversation for today.
Yeah, you look beautiful. Not that you look beautiful before. I feel once you do that, you're again, it's you being unapologetic. It's this is me. I'm not hiding behind anything.
You know what? That is, it's mad, because I am have been a very hair orientated person. I would always have a different hairstyle. Exactly that. And it was and it's oh, okay, I've done this, what can I do now? Let me do this. And then I've wanted to do it for ages, but I've just never really had the guts to actually do it. And then my younger cousin was diagnosed with leukemia, and basically all the men in our family just started shaving their heads, shave for Neve, and basically I was just do you know what, this is the perfect opportunity to do it for a good reason, a good cause, and like if it looks shit, I don't have to see anybody for however long because
a long time, yeah.
lockdown. So and I don't think it actually felt like a big deal at the time. I just kind of did it, and I was just like, okay, sweet. But then like now looking back, I'm actually a bit like, ooh, like this is like, I feel like it's a new chapter completely. Like, and the night before I did it, me and my friend watched Napoli Ever After on Netflix.
Yes.
We watched that on like Netflix parties. We were doing it at the same time just to like confirm it in my mind that I wanted to do it, because I feel like that film is such a like feel good film. Like, oh my god, she doesn't have any hair, and
she had a breakthrough, and it's like, yes,
yeah,
exactly.
So yeah,
wow,
but it's weird.
Good, you know. I feel like I need to watch it again.
Do you know what? So like a week before, not even a week, like a couple of days, when Mia was going to do it, in my mind I was kind of like, do you know what? I get what Mia's going through. Like, you just want to shave your head because you kind of feel liberated from everything. And that's, even if I didn't shave because I haven't shaved my head, obviously. I was feeling that, and I was like, you know, have you heard India Ari's song, I'm Not My Hair?
Yes, of course, yeah.
And I was like, you really aren't your hair as much as we feel like we are, because we have such a deep connection with our hair and all these things, like all those, but it's, you are the soul that lives within.
Yeah.
And so Mia doing that to me is such a big step. And so we have all these connections and we do all these things with our hair and all that, but it's just another piece of us, even though we identify so much with it.
Yeah. It's a piece of us and not the other way around. Like, we are not our hair.
Yeah.
It's a part of us. So we can change that whenever we want. And also just like not being dictated to as well, in terms of like what the ideas of ideations or anything to do around beauty are. Like, those standards, like, they're out the window, especially like in a time like now, you know, or the last couple of years. Like, we've like definitely proved that as people and as like as women as well. Yeah,
it's definitely been a step in the right direction. We were just saying there with Fu, who we just spoke to, that like the standard of beauty is definitely changing from what it was. It's definitely not where it should be, but you can definitely see there's like a lot more role models who are Black women and who wear their hair with pride, or who will shave their head, and like that's completely okay. Like, I think it's definitely like a step in the right direction.
And also the ones that are sharing their journeys like with us as well, like that's a big step as well, because usually you do that alone. You don't do it on camera, you don't do it on social media. Like, sometimes it's a long process as well, and it's just reconfirming for a lot of women as well that you don't have to do it like right now. Like, you can build yourself up to it, and like you maybe could start your journey and like have a goal in mind, or not have any goal, and then just end up somewhere completely different. So it's really enriching. It's just, you know, like if my parents or like my mum and my aunts and stuff, if they lived in a world like the one that we are in now, I mean, it would be bloody scary for them, but it's like, it's powerful, and like what they're learning now is insane, you know.
It's it's powerful.
Yeah. And I guess also for younger girls, by people sharing their journeys, so they are able to see more things on the internet, more things on TV. So it's like, and you were saying, Mia, with your younger sisters, you're showing them things, even though you don't have everybody around you who look the same as you, you might have more white people around you, so you're like, okay, I want to fit in that kind of circle, my hair to look like that. But if you do see it on the internet, it does help you with your image, and you're like, okay, I am beautiful, my hair is lovely, rather than you hearing people saying soft hair or good hair, all those sorts of things, because those are things, and I think that's a deep-rooted issue or a historical element, people saying about good hair and all those sorts of things, and it's just like, so is my hair not good? Is
good, like, yeah, exactly. And it's, like, because I have cousins that, like, for me, they're like so beautiful, and the one thing that gets them down is things like good hair, because that's a massive thing that has been in my family. Like, oh, you know, a lot of us do have what it seems to be like good hair, but then also on the flip side of that, to them, they're lacking that one thing. But for me, I'm like, yeah, but I've always grown up as like the bigger one or the chubbier one. Like, I've always been that, like, but there's no real like understanding of that, because that's always what it's been, and it's not seen as like a big issue, but that's because it's not them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hair or someone else, it might be like the complexion of their skin, because again, I have like a lot of people in my family are like of fairer skin, so the ones that are darker complexion, like I feel like they feel like there's some kind of or they're lacking in some kind of reason, or like, you know, the representation is not there, and I completely get it. But I feel like that's a good thing about like having external places like the internet or external communities, and like what you said, because then you do feel like you don't have to conform to what is your surrounding. And for a long time I didn't feel whole, because, you know, yes, I had fairer skin, yes, I had, you know, softer hair, or like more manageable hair or whatever, but then I didn't feel like I was looked at as attractive because I was bigger. And there's like more like jokes in terms of like being Caribbean and stuff, like about being bigger, and, you know, it's seen as being like, it's like quite a fetishized kind of look.
Yeah.
So for me, especially like being younger as well, like that just didn't sit with me. So yeah, so I guess like we're talking about hair, but I feel like certain things will lead up to like your body image.
Yeah, it's more than just hair. It just spread into different
and then
areas.
when also like you start losing your hair, or like, you know, your hair starts thinning out, like that's a massive step as well, you know.
Drastically. And I always think, like, you know, we say we're not our hair, but if something does happen to you and people have to go through things, if you get ill and you start, that's something that you have to battle with, because we spoke about this with Nilu as well. If somebody goes through something and their entire face changes, that's another entire battle. So it's so many things that you have to face. So if you don't have the choice to lose your hair, and then you just have to lose your hair like instantly, it's like, then what? Like, I haven't chosen this on myself. I just have to get rid of it. So it's like, wow, okay, how do I deal with that on the inside? Like, this is not who I know, because my hair is something that I wanted for my own beauty. Like, that's what I've been dealing with. And now what? Because I don't feel beautiful anymore.
No, definitely. That's so interesting you say that, because like one of the things that has, like, as much as like I don't regret what I've done or anything, like one of the things that has been on my mind, and it sounds so trivial, is like, will men find me attractive now? Or like, so like I had like an account on like a dating app on Hinge, and I was like, and people will be like matching me, and I'm like, I don't look like that anymore. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like a hair catfish or something, because I'm like, that's not what I look like anymore. But like I definitely think like it depends on the man. Like, I obviously can't speak for all men, but I do think like, because of the standards of beauty, they will have a preference in terms of like, oh, like hair, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just think naturally you'd go for a certain woman than another.
And I'm not even
specifically like girls with like shorter hairstyles, like, and some guys are like quite specific about what they like, and like, you know, like the guys that are like, oh, you know, like I've seen a lot of this on Instagram and like online, is like, you know, I want a girl with like natural hair. Like, who are you to talk about natural hair? Like,
it's not.
Since when did you know? Or like guys that like girls done up to the nines, when it's like, that's a lot of effort that takes as well, you know.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, really?
I'll always remember
makeup. But like, what about those girls that completely go from being like one shade to a completely different shade, and then you throw on like a wig on top of it? Like, are you not like completely changing yourself? Like, if you're doing that every day, like, what is that saying to you about your natural beauty? You know?
I think that's such a different topic as well. Like, people really do all these things, and so I'm like, because I've not really done that, I'm very, first of all, I don't even enjoy doing makeup that much. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just like, some people are into makeup and like wigs and all that. So if you are all for that, go ahead, right?
Yeah.
But then if you're preaching different things, then what is that? Are you really for your natural looks and your self-love, or are you not? So I don't really know, because it's like I have an internal battle myself when I'm dealing with those, because it's not me. I don't know if I can speak on it. You know,
I don't feel like I can speak on it either, but I do like, it does make me question it. I question it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like, even right now I've got on like makeup and stuff, but like it's something that I've learned to do during like lockdown, because I mean I had so many products and I had to throw that stuff away. So I was like, I might as well just like play around and see. So I'm getting to like learn that. But for me, that's more of like an art form, and maybe some people could look at it like that. But I
That's
don't
it.
necessarily
Yeah.
feel like I cannot leave the house without it. Like, or that wearing makeup or not wearing makeup changes my standard of beauty, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me if like a guy wants, like, I don't put on makeup thinking this is gonna make guys like me. Do you know what I mean?
For a guy,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, totally. I get you. It's like
That's
you
made
just
me
do it
think.
for you.
That's just made me think, like, this is so, yeah, it's kind of about what you're saying. So there was a girl on my course, and she used to get her hair relaxed.
Yeah.
And I would always just think to myself, like, oh, like, why doesn't she just love her hair? Like, why doesn't she just like love her natural hair? Like, and I obviously would never say that to her, but like, I just would have that internal thought, like, oh, I wish, like I felt sad for her. I was like, oh, I wish she would. But then at the same time, like, I was also there, like, scraping my hair back every day, like, scraping my hair into a bun, paying to get braids done, like, and I get that to an extent it isn't the same thing, but it also kind of is, because I was still not walking around with my natural hair. So I was like, I'm actually, like, one, a part of the problem, and two, like, a hypocrite, because like I'm in my head criticizing her for this, but I'm essentially doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, to be natural is essentially to just wake up and just feel great, or like to be happy with that initial look.
Yeah, and that I'm not. I'll happily say that.
And a lot of people say that. And also for me, like, I used to like straighten my hair quite a bit, and sometimes I do straighten it, sometimes I don't. And some people, like, to be actually natural, you have to like wear your hair in its natural form, so straightening and things like that don't count. I actually didn't look at natural hair like that. I thought natural hair was like more like if you don't apply like a chemical to it, or if you don't apply braids or any kind of extensions. But at the same time, like, we don't talk about this enough. Not all of us, like, as Black women or mixed race women or women of colour or any type of women, not all of us are made or even know how to manage our hair. So for me, when I blow dried it and stuff like that, or when I like put a keratin treatment on it, it's because every day I could not face that battle of having to do my hair and still get up and show up for work and show up for an environment which didn't represent me on top of all of that. Do you know what I mean? So like, there was bigger stresses in my life than doing my hair, but having that done made me feel a little bit like more ready for the day or ready to attack whatever, you know.
Definitely. And you were saying before as well, Chloe, like when we were younger, I'd make sure I had my hair neat, slicked down to the nines, whatever, because I know if I went to school, teachers make sure I say, you have a little bit of frizzy, that's not professional, like, why do you look so untidy, anything like that. But it's like, I'm 10 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like,
why are you putting this on me? Like,
yeah, like, I have some friends, could you give me a break? But other girls, if white, whatever, they have their head down all the way, but I could never make that mistake.
And their hair to be frizzy as well, you know, and no one.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, what is the difference here? So I think this is such a deep-rooted issue again. Like, what is the difference there between their hair being down, my hair being a little bit frizzy, my hair being... And obviously, I think things have changed now, because if that happened, anybody told me anything about my hair being down compared to anybody else's hair being down, I would not stand for that.
They would know.
But no, I agree with what you were saying about like it being professional or seen as being professional. And I think people have started having like more conversations about that, which has been very good and very interesting. But the reason why I think that is really kind of positioned at people of colour, especially like Black men and women, is because of the stigma around racism. It's just like another way of putting people down, essentially, and to like reignite that whole "you're not worthy, you're not good enough" stereotype. And it's things like that I class as like institutional racism, because it's like it's so ingrained in like white supremacy and like just superiority that it's just natural for them to do that.
And then you could flip it, and it's not even flipping it, but then within our own personal selves. So we aren't doing it.
Well,
but
yeah,
then,
but that stigma is within, you know.
exactly, for like our older generation. So if like your grandmother might say it to you, and you're kind of like, but
Yeah.
why? Not even when the younger generation is like, but this is just my hair. And it's like, oh no, don't put it on the younger generation, please. Let them be.
Yeah, but then that is the way that that's kind of like their trauma, their way of growing up, and it's like their way of going through. Because my gran says stuff to me, she's like, oh my god, like your hair's crazy. So I've had like a white girl tell me that, like when my hair was like curly, but probably because my curls were not as formed as say yours are. But like they were like, "Wow, your hair's crazy today. Like, what happened to you?" I was like, "It's not fucking crazy at all." Sorry for my language. I was like, "It's not crazy at all." But then if like my gran will say it to me, I'm just like, "We were an idiot." Like, well, I try not to call her an idiot and stuff, but like I don't mean it that way. But I'm just like that's stupid. Like, it's not. So I have to like re-educate her on like what is cool, and also just like I am my own person as well. My family know that I'm that person. So like, give me a rest with your unsolicited opinions. That's what I say to most people in my family, because I'm not trying to follow their lead. I'm not trying to follow a lead that is set out by them or anyone else. So I'm essentially doing my own thing. So unless I specifically ask for your opinion, like, please do not give it to me. And they've started to learn that now. Like, it's like people, so I know they want to say something, but I'm like, no, keep your vibes and keep your like, I say ignorant ways of like thinking to yourself. And I think that's something that I've grown to say and to learn to say in a way that's not necessarily seen as being rude, and also owning that. And like, if you think I'm being rude, cool, but I find what you're saying very damaging to me, and because I've had to go through that and now come out on this side, like I'm just not accepting of it. And it's
Definitely.
okay.
And then I'm just gonna bring like some wellness into this. I guess that's like us as adults trying to unlearn things from our past that we've been taught and things like that, and come into our own selves and all that. And like another one, some self-care. Me, when I'm doing my hair, that's like my own bit of self-care. And that's, I enjoy doing those things. That makes me feel good. I'm just like, this is so thyself.
What do you guys do for your self-care?
Pardon?
What do you do for your like your hair self-care? What do you do?
Every night, just look at my little mirror, which is right here. Just brush it, little spreads. Just go through it, feel my love. It's just lovely.
Do you know what? I'm absolute opposite of that. Like, I would just like, I would literally do anything to avoid seeing my hair. Like, I think I've noticed it more now that I don't have hair. Like, so if, for example, like I literally taught myself to braid my hair so that like I could literally just sit and do that and it's done. Like, I wouldn't have to book an appointment or anything like that or whatever. And then as much as I like wouldn't straighten it, I would still like, I would probably, it's very rare that I would spend a full day with my hair down. Like, I'll scrape it into a bun, I'll scrape it back into like a middle part, and like any way that I could not handle it, deal with it, see it, like that was it for me. And like in a weird way, like I like that, but it wasn't good, if that makes sense. So like the most that I would do would just be like, I would probably put some product in it and put it and like braid it into 2 parts after I'd washed it. Like that would be like the most actual like love I would maybe give it. Other than that, it was like, okay, how can I like, let me go on Pinterest and see hairstyles where I can avoid having my hair out. Like, what else can I do now? That was literally me.
Yeah, like protective styles basically as well. Like,
yeah, it was like an endless cycle, and it was like, all right, I've just took these braids out. What can I do now? What's next? What can I do? So I think it's been good for me to do this, because it's like just chill, like chill
think
for
about
a bit.
something else now.
Like I was spending like a 10 hours braiding my hair. Like, think now what I can do with 10 hours, like
literally. And I guess
like
saving money on extensions.
What was that?
Saving money on extensions.
Yes.
I'm literally looking at a pack right here, like looking at the woman on it with her hair all braided, and I'm like,
No, I'm like I don't like to spend that much time on my hair. I prefer someone else just to do it for me if I can. yeah, I don't put too much thought into it as such. I guess with me, self-care with my hair is like just making sure that like I'm like giving my scalp a good massage, or like putting oils in, because for me like stress will come out in like dry scalp. So like for me, that's what I do. And like learning how to other ways to nourish my hair. So like we all know conditioners and stuff. I might try like going down the more natural routes, like natural products. And yeah, like I love avocado oil in my hair. Like I used it years ago, and I just like started using it again, like just before lockdown. And like it just feels so good. It like doesn't dry my hair out, doesn't dry my scalp out. Like I've had castor oil. Castor oil burns my eyes. If it drips or goes anywhere close to my eyes, it's like too much. And avocado oil has just been like really good, but that's specific for my hair that I've noticed that.
That's it. Yeah, I think, and this is like with everything, there's no one answer. You have to just find what works for you.
Yeah.
So somebody will put this review up and it's like, okay, yeah, and then you're like, oh, but that's kind of drying my hair out, so I don't think so. So you just have to kind of find your products and your little routine, and so just do what works for you guys.
Yes. Word.
But yeah, thank you so much, Chloé, for speaking to us and I don't know, giving us the time of your day, and yeah, we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much for like inviting me on. This is like
it's okay. Give yourself a selfless plug right now. Plug anything you want.
I'm just plugging Thysel's like rant and rave that's coming up, and I guess anything that like we start working on. I mean, we're just gonna have like Instagram stories for the time being, and I guess we're just looking forward to like getting out of this COVID situation and continuing the mission. So
definitely
I feel you. Well, good luck with everything, and well, we'll be here supporting.
And we love Thyself.
And me, like yours as well. Like, love what you guys are doing, and I can't wait to like actually see you guys in person. Like,
oh my god, I know.
When that happens, when COVID is done, we will link up.
Seriously, I can't wait to just see so many people and just like hug them and just be like,
So that was Don't Touch My Hair.
We had totally different expectations of what each of us were going to say that.
Yeah, we did. So we just spoke to Fu and Chloé about hair and all the little bits in between it.
I'm sure now people understand why we would like bigger them up like that before.
They are such lovely people. Both of them are like, they're so different, but like such like beautiful souls.
Like my heart is smiling.
Aww.
Do you get what I mean? Like when you're just like, but yeah. So that was, like you said, Don't Touch My Hair. I think we touched on some nice topics there.
Yeah, it was a really nice conversation, and I think it was fitting and it needed to be vocalized.
Defo.
So thank you everybody for listening. If you're listening on SoundCloud, then lame.
But it's okay because we still need the streams.
Yeah, we do.
So
if you are watching on YouTube, then big on you.
So it's nice to see you, little cutie.
But yeah, so thank you so much for listening, and next week we are on Melodic Distraction.
We've got another special guest.
We've got another little special mix for you guys, which we'll be announcing soon. But yeah, other than that, stay safe, stay beautiful, and stay sissing. Oh, fuck that.
What did you say? Stay what?
Stay sissing. I should have said stay going off. Anyway.
Yeah. It's sissing, like Go Off Sis. I thought you said sitting. You know when I'm like, are we not understanding?
Are we not understanding?
Anyway, she's Mia and I'm Rachel from Trinidad.
Bye.